There was good news and bad news for the #1 team in the country that beats their arch rival 76-61 at Cameron Indoor. Let's start with the good news. Dame Sar. It doesn't rhyme to say Dame time, but you might as well with the spelling. 24-2 run in the second half, highlighted by a sequence in which he gets a steal for a dunk, hits a three, and then draws an offensive foul after slapping the floor, unprompted, by the way. Isaiah Evans, after the game, told me, that's usually something we do more as a team, but John Shire himself slapped the floor, and he said, that's not something I've done in a very long time. And it works when you energize the crowd the way that he did, staving off a North Carolina run that at the start of the 24-2 spurt was a three-point game. So that was the ball game. Duke ends up winning it. Which brings us to the bad news. Pat Gamba, while a lot of the attention on was who didn't play for North Carolina, Caleb Wilson done for the season. Hubert Davis after the game says his heart breaks for a kid that always dreamed about playing in the ACC and playing in the NCAA tournament, and he's not going to get a chance to do so. The Duke injuries were the story tonight. Pat Gamba, questionable going in. John Shire said Pat did everything possible to play, and he just walked past us a short while ago. He was wearing a boot, and John says he'd be surprised if we see him in Charlotte next week. Health is the most important thing as the Blue Devils get set for NCAA tournament action very soon. But the more unfortunate news is Caleb Foster. He's a junior guard, and he hurts his foot in the first half, goes to the locker room, doesn't come out initially at the start of the second half, and when he does, he's wearing a boot. He was emotional. There was a moment in the second half where Shire went over to him, said something to him, patted him on the shoulder. Caleb was pretty obviously emotional. And then sitting right behind the Duke bench, Chris Paul actually had something to say to Caleb after that as well, seemingly to encourage him. It didn't look pretty, and Coach Shire says that there will be some imaging done tomorrow to learn more about Caleb. Again, Shire said he'd be surprised if we see him in the ACC tournament. Duke's hoping that they'll get their starting point guard back at some point this season. Duke wins the game, though, and there were a lot of luminaries here. Sean McVay in the house, his GM, Les Snead. Hey, there was a Khalil Mack signing by the Chargers. The other LA team signed him. If the GM and the head coach wasn't at this basketball game, who knows? Maybe they might have their edge rusher. But that was highlighted among the luminaries here. You had Chris Paul as well. It's always fun when Duke plays North Carolina, and now postseason has arrived in college basketball for these two ranked ACC clubs. Again, your final count, Duke 76, North Carolina 61.